Hello, welcome to yoga. I have a quick practice for the hips for you today, so let's get started right away. Seated on your mat. You shouldn't need any props to do this practice. However, blocks may come in handy or maybe a blanket, but don't stress if none of those things are near. Just find a comfortable seat, however that may look like for you. It might be cross-legged, sitting on the knees. Either way, just make sure you can stack your shoulders on top of your hips. Bring the crown of the head towards the sky. And let's bring one hand to the chest, one to the belly. Take a cleansing breath in. Exhale, side out the mouth. Once more like this. Take an inhale in through the nose. Exhale, sigh it out the mouth. Let's bring the eyes to close down here or fix them on a unmoving point in front of you. We're going to move into a 3-part breath here. So as we inhale, we're going to fill the belly, then the ribs, and then the chest with air. And as we exhale, the air is going to leave our chest first, followed by the ribs, and then we're going to pull the belly button to the spine to allow the belly to empty, and then repeat. We'll do this a few times. So inhale, belly fills, chest, or ribs, and then chest, I'm sorry. And then exhale, chest, ribs, belly. Inhale through the belly, ribs, chest. Exhale, chest, ribs, belly. We'll do this a few more times. Follow your own breath at your own pace. Just a few more, stick with it. Last one. And as you exhale, keep the eyes closed down, bring the hands to the knees, and then just continue to breathe normally here. Notice how you feel right now. Notice any tension or sensation in the body. Notice any thoughts or feelings that come up. And take notice of anything in your life that is no longer serving you or serving a purpose. And see if as you exhale, you can try to let that go, leave something behind as we move into the rest of this practice. And ask yourself, what can you make space for? What would you like to welcome more of in your life? Take a few more breaths in. And as you exhale, begin to open up the eyes. We're going to move into Baddha Konasana or cobbler's pose. So we're going to bring the feet out in front of us, bring the soles of the feet together, planted on both sit bones. The knees are going to sit wide. Right, so the feet can be as close to the body or as far away as comfortable to you. You just want to make sure that you can sit up straight wherever that is. So bring the feet together. Begin to maybe use the hands to open them up like a book. This will help encourage the knees down. We want the legs active, so pulling your thighs down towards the mat. Again, sit up with a straight spine. Just breathe here if that feels good to you. But if not, if you would like to move a little bit further, we can try folding over the legs. We want to do this with a flat back here. Hinge from the hips and then lead with our chest to come forward. You may not come that far forward if your hips aren't that open as are mine. So I find I usually stop about here before I have to fold over my legs. So just stay working here. On the inhale, finding length in the spine, really stretching up out of the crown of the head. And then as you exhale, just folding forward a little bit at a time, using gravity to help you find the deepness in which you can sit in this pose and breathe very deeply, very evenly, very comfortably. If you cannot, then you should back off the pose into a shape that you can breathe in that way. So again, knees are really pulling towards the ground here. The hands can be to the feet, the ankles. Take 2 more breaths wherever you are. And then slowly use the hands to press the body back upright. They can come behind you. The feet can come flat to the ground about hip distance apart. And we're just gonna knock our knees side to side, finding some gentle movement. Maybe dropping the knees to hold on one side. And then coming back through center to hold on the other. From here, let's roll forward into an all fours position. I'm just gonna turn so you can see me a little bit better. But bring the shoulders over the wrists, the hips over the knees, press into the ground evenly, spread the fingertips out wide. And then we'll take a few cat-cows. So dropping the belly, opening the chest, looking up slightly on an inhale for cow pose. And then as you exhale, pull the belly button to the spine, tuck the chin into the chest, take cat pose. Follow your breath here. Going back and forth between these 2 motions, pressing down through the hands and feet, waking up through the spine. And then let's come back to find a flat back. We're going to tuck the right toes under and slide the right foot back, stretching through this right leg, really pressing back through that right heel. And we can rock forward and back here. Eventually find where neutral is, and then lifting from the heel of the right foot, engage the belly button, so really pull the belly button in towards the spine, and then lift that right leg up, pressing into both hands evenly. Maybe the right hand extends out straight in front of us, really reaching forward and back here with the limbs. As you exhale, let's bring the left elbow to kiss the right knee. So we're gonna crunch inward, really dome the upper body, come into that cat-like posture. And then as we inhale, we're going to extend the arm and the leg out once more. We're gonna drop the left hand down, and then the right leg is going to cross over to the left side, over the left foot, and we're gonna plant those toes down. So our leg is kind of diagonal here. And then we're gonna keep the hands where they are. Just turn to the left so you can gaze over your left shoulder and peek towards that right foot and really bend over here. You should feel a nice stretch through this right side of your body. Take a few breaths here, really reaching back through that right heel. And then once more, engage through the core. Lift that right leg back up. It comes straight behind you, and then drop the knee down back in your tabletop position. We'll repeat on the other side. So flex through the left foot here. Maybe rock forward and back to get a nice stretch through the calf. And then lift from that left heel. Body is in one straight line here. We're gonna pull the belly button in, maybe reach that right arm forward. And then as you exhale, curl the body in, bring the left knee to the right elbow, dome through the upper body, and then extend as you exhale. Drop that right hand down. The left foot's gonna cross over the right, and we're gonna turn over our right shoulder to look at that left foot. Heel driving back, and breathe deeply here to stretch through the left side body. Inhale, bring everything back up. and then lower the knee down. Let's walk the hands out maybe about an inch. Just make a little bit room for us to come in a downward dog. So tuck the toes under here, press into the hands, and lift the hips up to the sky. Feel free to bend the knees, but as we exhale, we want to encourage the heels to reach down towards the mat. Really press the mat away with the hands, press into the feet, and look behind you towards the ankles, the shins, the knees, the thighs, maybe to the belly button. Shoulders are away from the ears here. And breathe. Reconnect with your breath. Make sure you're still breathing deeply, taking even breaths. And as you inhale, we're going to lift from that right heel once more to three-legged dog. And as we exhale, we're going to step that right foot up to the outside of the right foot and come into lizard, right? So the toes can be slightly off of the mat, kind of opening up. And we're going to lower this back left knee. Press into the ground to press the upper body away from the mat. You can come to the elbows here. This is one of those places, if you had blocks or some books or something, if you'd like to bring the ground a little bit closer to you, you could. But if not, I'm just going to stay on the hands here. The left leg should be pointed straight out behind you. And then you're pressing into the top of the left foot. We're going to keep the hands planted where they are here. And then we're going to shimmy this right foot over to the back of the left wrist, and we're going to come into pigeon pose, right? So the shin is going to be parallel to the front of your mat. We're going to drop that right knee down. The leg is still straight behind you here. And if this just isn't comfortable to keep the shin parallel to the front of the mat, feel free to walk that right heel in closer to the body so the leg's more at an angle. But the goal here is to keep the hips square. So the hips should be facing forward. As you lower them down, another great place to stick a block underneath the hip or a blanket that's wrapped up, a towel, just to bring the ground a little bit closer to you so you don't feel like you're holding yourself up into this position. But what we don't want is to curve the body just to allow the hips to sink down, because then we lose the integrity of the pose and what we're working on. So wherever you are, just breathe deeply here in this upright position. And then slowly start to lower the body down. You can come to the forearms. You can come to rest the forehead on the hands, or you can walk the hands out in front of you. Just find a comfortable place you can hang out and breathe. We'll be here for a few more breaths, so just continue to breathe deeply. These poses can be really intense, so be gentle with yourself as we move through them. You shouldn't feel any pinching or pain. If you do, please back off. And then slowly use the hands to press the upper body back up. You can come through all fours and meet us in a downward dog. What I'm gonna do is tuck the left toes under, engage the core, and then begin to lift the hips up and pull this right foot back, so we can plant it back down in downward facing dog. Really trying to work on that core strength. Helps a lot with our mobility. So take one more breath here, and then we'll move on to the other side. So we're going to inhale, lift the left heel up into three-legged dog. And then as we exhale, we're going to step that left foot to the outside of the left hand. Lower the right knee. Stay on the hands or come down to the elbows if that's comfortable for you. I'm going to stay up here. And breathe. Again, make sure that right foot is pointing straight back behind you. And then again, hands are gonna stay planted where they are. Let's shimmy this left foot to come behind the right ankle, and we're gonna come into pigeon pose. So drop the left knee, hips are square. Both sides may be super different. You may be able to come down a little bit further on one side than the other. That's completely normal. Just listen to your body, be very mindful as we come into these deeper postures. So one breath here, upright. And then slowly begin to lower the body down and keep breathing. Start to press into the hands, lift the upper body upright. Once more, transition through all fours into down dog, or from here, tuck the right toes under, lift this left leg up, and then step it back into a downward facing dog. Let's take 2 breaths here. Press into the hands and feet evenly. See if those heels can come a little bit closer to the ground than they did before. But again, if it feels better, bend the knees. Do what works for your body. And then on your next inhale, let's gaze up in between the hands. Really press down through all 10 fingers, bend through the knees, and we're gonna jump. You can take a few steps, but we're gonna jump into a squat. So jump the hands to the outside, or jump the feet to the outside of the hands. I'm sorry, that would make a lot more sense. And then we're gonna come into Malasana, or yogi squat. So toes are slightly out, heels are slightly in. And then we're gonna press the palms of the hands together into one another and use the elbows to press the knees out a little bit wider. The tailbone is going to pull down towards the ground, and we're going to try to lift the crown of our head up towards the sky and really try to open up the shoulders so you're not slouched over. We want to kind of sit back here and keep the chest open, keep the spine straight. Take a few breaths here. Again, if this does not work for you, you can come up a little bit higher. This is a great place to place a block underneath you if it helps you. But let's take 2 more breaths. And then let's use the hands to help us come down to the ground, to our bottoms. We're going to extend the legs out long in front of us. Bring the legs together, keep them active here. Toes are flexing towards the face, but not so much so that we're locking through the knees and the heels lose contact with the ground. And then lift up to find more length as you inhale, and as we exhale, we're going to fold forward from the hips into Paschimottanasana. So we can reach for the feet in front of us, the ankles, the shins. If it's available, grab the hands in front of the feet, maybe lock one hand around the wrist. But we want to fold with a flat back to make sure we're feeling the stretch in our legs. We shouldn't be pulling ourselves forward to come into this folding shape. What we really want to do is to see we can find length on every inhale, and then on every exhale, fold a little bit deeper with a flat back to keep the stretch in the legs, because that's what we're looking for. So you may not, like we did in the beginning, you may not come all the way down, but just work with that. And then over time, with practice and patience, much patience, you should be able to slowly fold over the knees a little bit more. Just a few more breaths here in this position. And then as you inhale, lift the upper body up. Then exhale, come fully back upright. Let's shift our bottoms down towards our feet, which are going to come to contact with the mat as the knees come to point up towards the sky. We're going to make our way down to our backs here. Take a few rounds of bridge pose. So the knees are facing up towards the ceilings. Pull the feet in so you're walking the heels in towards the buttocks. And we're going to use the hands to really press down into the mat here. As we inhale, we're going to press down in through the feet. We're going to lift the hips up towards the sky. Knees are going to drive forward and the thighs are going to pull towards one another. We do not want the knees to splay out like this. We want to keep everything locked in here. You should feel your body weight on your shoulders and not in the back of your neck. And breathe here, really lifting the hips up towards the sky. And then as you exhale, slowly unravel one vertebrae at a time. Bring the back flat to the mat, and we'll repeat this one more time. So inhale, lift the hips up towards the sky, really press the feet into the ground. Keep those knees and inner thighs pulling together. Either stay here with the arms pressing into the mat, or you can clasp the hands underneath you and then press into the forearms to lift yourself up a little bit higher. And then slowly exhale down. We'll come to take constructive rest. So bring the feet as wide as the mat. And then knock the knees in toward one another and rest here. The hands can come to the belly. They can spread out. Find whatever feels good to you. We're going to take 5 breaths here. Deep, deep breaths into the belly. Starting to relax now. And then slowly start to straighten through the legs. Extend through the arms, take up space. Allow the palms of the hands to reach up towards the sky. Relax all the limbs, soften through the belly. Allow the hips and the shoulders to become heavy. Soften through the chest, the throat, soften the jaw. Relax the tongue away from the roof of your mouth. Relax the skin of the forehead as we come into Shavasana for rest for a few moments. Thoughts may arise. Simply notice your breath and let them pass. Use your breath like a metronome. We'll be here for a few moments. Just let the mind do its thing. Slowly start to deepen the breath and bring awareness back into the physical body. Once more, ask yourself, how do I feel right now? Do you notice any sensations? And then feel free to stay here, or with the eyes closed down, begin to roll over onto your right side, bringing the knees into the chest, and just pause here in a fetal position. Allowing the energy to settle. And then use your hands to press the body back upright into a comfortable seat. Again, whatever that looks like to you. Bring the hands into the lap. And then we'll take this last moment to offer some gratitude to ourselves for showing up and doing something kind for our minds and our bodies. Let's inhale, reach the arms up. Take the biggest inhale you've taken in all day. And then as you exhale, bring the hands to the heart space. And I will leave you guys here. Namaste. Thank you for practicing with me today. I hope this felt good on the hips and that you enjoyed it. And I will see you guys soon.